development and turning those around in real time. Working with the dormitories at the UC system, the CSU system, to do the same. Of course, capacity in our fairgrounds, our convention centers. I can't tell you how many sporting leagues, not just owners of teams in this state, said, you know what, you want our arena? You can have our arena. We put together a matrix. It's just rather remarkable. It's almost worth just taking a look. Quite literally thousands and thousands of specific requests and examples that have been given to us in real time of people wanting to help and providing resources. So when we say that this has been a moment, it's been quite a moment of people reaching deep, going to the distance to really help support the cause of the state of California. And again, I imagine this is being replicated all across the United States of America. But again, in the framework of being sober about this moment, to see these freeways in this state, not congested. It was not the way we hope to reduce congestion in this state, and to recognize the number of people that have been laid off and the impacts to restaurants and hotels, the unemployment claims in this state. 6 days ago, it was 40,000 unemployment claims. The next day was 70,000. Day after that, 80,000. Went up to 125, 135 2 days ago, and 114,000 yesterday. We're waiting for the new numbers as it relates to the claims today. It gives you a sense of the magnitude of those that are struggling at this moment, and I hope the magnitude that we all recognize to meet this moment in terms of this federal support that has to come not only our way, but to states large and small all across the United States. There's a spirit of collaboration, though, as it relates to this moment that also needs to be identified. And that is other governors sharing ideas and best practices with other governors. And I just want to applaud the incredible leadership, the stress that's been placed on Jay Inslee up in Washington State, Governor Brown up in Oregon, just on the West Coast. I was communicating with Governor Bullock in Montana. We're all in this together, not just what Jay Pritzker's doing and J.B. Pritzker in Illinois, and obviously Governor Cuomo's outstanding leadership, and what Governor Murphy did today in his announcement. I just want to applaud all of them for all of their work. The Governor of Ohio, I can go down the list. I just want to say we're all inspired, I think, by one another's work, and I think inspired to recognize that we all have insight, we all have capacity, and our ability to start sharing these as governors across the state have really, I think, inspired all of us, and I think raised the expectation that we can each do more and do better. Your impact on their lives. Don't be selfish. Recognize they're on the beaches thinking this is a party. Time to grow up, time to wake up, time to recognize it's not just about the old folks, it's about your impact on their lives. Don't be selfish. Recognize you have a responsibility to meet this moment as well. I was talking to my kids the other day. But in the broader public, if you're young, you don't have any symptoms, I know you may have deep anxiety, just assume that you potentially are contagious and act accordingly. Socially distance yourself from others. Just use common sense. Be a good neighbor. Be a good citizen. Those young people that are still out there on the beaches thinking this is a party, time to grow up. Time to wake up. Time to recognize it's not just about the old folks, it's about your impact on their lives. Don't be selfish. Recognize you have a responsibility to meet this moment as well. I was talking to my kids the other day. My son said, "Why aren't you letting me outside?" I said, no, stay at home has a framework of common sense. I said to Hunter, you can go outside and play basketball. I said, just don't invite the neighbors and all your friends to come over. Use your common sense. And I want to encourage people to think accordingly. What is essential and non-essential is essentially what you think it is. We're going to make sure food and all our distribution networks are secure. And that clearly is essential. We're going to make sure that you can get access to medical supplies, the pharmacy. You can go to the laundromat. We're going to make sure transportation systems and our entire apparatus of security and infrastructure is well secured. And if you need to go outside to get some exercise, do that. But don't do that in a group setting. If you see a busy street, don't run down that street. Again, use common sense. You want to take a walk with your dog? Take a walk with your dog. Just don't do it with 5 or 6 neighbors. And if there are people around, just mind your space, socially distance yourself at least 6 feet. And if that becomes problematic, we'll start to enforce that, but not with a hammer. With a little bit of verbal communication. Just, folks, just think about what you're doing here. And I just want to say, on the enforcement side, people are worried, we're going to have police, it's not. Social pressure is really moved remarkably quickly. And you just seen that in what's happening in all of these states where we put out a directive and people are doing, by and large, the right thing. And if they're not doing the right thing, we have licensing capacity to enforce. We can shut down businesses that are just abusive of this moment. And clearly, we have other enforcement capacity. But I don't think we're at a point, certainly in the experiences we're having in California, not all equally spread. We recognize there are areas where we still have work to do to socialize these new protocols. But I think it's going remarkably well under those circumstances. We put out very detailed guidelines yesterday. And we're making sure those are distributed all across the state of California. I want to thank the California Chamber of Commerce for their incredible support of the guidelines.